Hey everyone, welcome back. Last time we got the hull glassed and filled out, and now I just need to do a little bit of sanding on it and then find a place to put it to start working on the deck. And after thinking about it for a while, I think I came up with a pretty decent solution. One of the joys of working in a garage with very little room. Well, that was easier than I thought it'd be. Let me draw your attention to this spot right here. The recess comes up and the panels actually came up a little bit higher than the tip of the recess, and what I've done is ran the sander up the recess panels straight into the deck panels, and you can see the layers in the deck panels. I just shaved it all off there and made it nice and smooth, so it's a nice gradual bend. That's going to help the glass bend over that point, and it also just gives it a nice little bevel, I think. I've done that before on my old ones. Here it's a little less pronounced, but still, you get away with it. And again, since I'll be staining this purple, I think it'll come out perfectly nice. So, no worries. You just run it right up in there. When I first started with this stain, I was really afraid to sand on it, but don't be afraid, because you're going to touch it up. You're going to have to redo it. It doesn't matter. Sand it down, get it right, until you're happy. Touch it up. It's all good. Clearly, I spend a small fortune on painter's tape. There's definitely a better way to do this, but I just like wasting tape, I guess. Well, that was hideous. But there is some inside the seams. Oh, what a mess. But we'll get it all sanded down nice and hard. See where we're at. And then we'll touch up you know what. So, living the dream. Alright, it's time for my favorite part. I love this stuff. It's fantastic and wonderful. Love it. Love it so much. So to deal with the bleeding from the tape, I just used a little piece of a sander and just scraped it off by hand, because it's only skin deep. You just scrape it a little bit and it cleans it right up. I found that the power tools were just not precise enough. I kept going back and forth, and this ended up being the best way to go. You would think, being that I designed this boat, I would remember where I put the bulkhead, but Yeah, I forgot. Ah, there it is. 5 feet 4 inches. These hatch lips are provided in the plans, and they're not only for one spot. They can, you know, they're big enough, and then you'll just trim them for wherever they end up going. You know, they could be anywhere. This part's only a little nerve-wracking. You mess it up and, you know, it's no big deal. You just completely mess up the whole thing. Now, if you've ever built a kayak, you know how important this step is. Testing with your head. If you don't do anything like that, you could, well, run into difficulties later on. It's just easier if your head fits inside the hatch. Alright, time for some glass. I try not to waste it, but it's hard to find uses for it. My garage is about 100 degrees right now, so you gotta really move fast with that cup of epoxy. You don't get a lot of working time with it. It wants to set up pretty quick, so small batches and go fast. After I wet it out, then I come back a little while later, about 2 hours later I think, and I do the filling of the weave, where you just use this chip brush, slop it on and then tip it out to get nice and smooth. Alright, good job everybody. We got the deck all glassed, the fill coat on, we got the bulkheads glass, don't pay attention to the color, and the hatch covers. Yippee skippy! Next up, after a light sanding, we'll get the hatch combings on, and then we'll get the cockpit combing also on. And yeah, we're moving right along. Doing good.